all have a history, the things we've done, the choices we've made, the unexpected and the planned. Like every biography or history book, choices are made of what is recorded. The minute-by-minute recording of sleeping 8 hours a night for endless years would not make for fascinating reading, to say nothing of taking a lifetime to read. Although some subway trips to the office may be life-changing, most are just necessary transportation. School days are much of a kind, except when you meet someone who becomes a lifelong friend or enemy, or the first day you learned to read, or the day the light went on in that science class. We self-edit our memories all the time. We generally don't remember the mundane, unless the sheer boredom drove us to make changes in our lives or our plans for the future. The endless hours working on an assembly line may have provided the freedom to plot a bestseller, or the sheer boredom may have driven you to return to school. And for that, we do give the mundane credit. How we remember the people important to us, though, varies. It depends on the day, the mood you're in, the memories themselves. One day you remember your father with the greatest of affection, recalling the hikes through the ravine and catching gollywogs in the marsh, playing cards on rainy days and cheering you on every time you were at bat. The greatest dad of all time. Another day, all you can recall is the rules he laid down, obviously designed to thwart your life. No sleepovers, no crinolines, no leaving the table until every bite was downed, even if you fell asleep in the mushy peas. Same person, so why such different memories? It's the same with so many parts of your life. I find that sitting on the deck at twilight is the time my mind drifts backwards, to remember good times and wondering what it would be like to recreate them. Do they still have the ponies at Wasaga Beach that I don't remember riding, but there was a photo of that day that my mother held dear? Do I still have the energy to climb up to the top of Masada in Israel? 15 years ago, it was a challenge that left me winded, legs aching, exhilarated, but exhausted. Not sure I want to try that again. Have they paved over the old ravine and built some monstrous condo on it? I've never gone back because it would be such a heartbreak if they have. I just love imagining other little girls wandering through the old paths with their dads and building forts with their friends. And then one gets to thinking about connections that have been lost. People who were friends and teachers who influenced, work colleagues, bosses and clients, patients and staff, bureaucrats and inspectors. So many people who were so important at different times. People with whom you ate your lunch every day, or traveled to exotic places to meet, and those whose children grew up with yours. But time happens. Places and people change, and you just drift away or lose touch, or someone dies. Our generation has one great advantage. It's the internet. The lost can be found in tattered connections rewoven. Of course, some of the names we search for end up unfindable. Usually a woman, because they change their names far more frequently than do men. But even if you don't make contact, it is great fun discovering where old friends have ended up, their accomplishments, their growing family, the new country they now call home. Of course, sometimes it ends with an obituary. But even that tells you of those who loved them and how they lived. You may even find an article about a court case and whether they were the lawyer or the accused, the book they wrote or the mountains they climbed. And you remember that first day at school, that first day at university, every graduation, your confirmation, your wedding, Granny's funeral, your first trophy, your first evening gown or tuxedo, your first prom, your first touchdown, that first concert. Mine was Elvis, even though the principal promised to suspend anyone who attended. How you remember the places, the people, and the events says a lot about what is important to you. Are most of your memories happy, funny, depressing, or bad? Years ago, I made a conscious decision not to remember things that hurt or brought me down. They're still there, I'm sure, tucked away in some pocket of memory that I just don't bother to access. But sitting in the garden and remembering the good stuff is a lovely way to greet the rising moon. And just remember, as you relate those times and places to others, memories have a way of enlarging your own role and relieving you of responsibility for the not so good. Diaries can be a wonderful check on memories, memory being the fallible, story reinventing creation that it is. But who wants to be brought down by discovering that the memory you treasure has grown over the years to become more fascinating, more life-changing, more exciting than it really was? That would be a bummer. Fortunately, few of us have the persistence to be a lifelong diarist. I only manage it for the first week or so of every trip I take, the best of intentions notwithstanding. Now, my travel logs are very pretty. Pictures, menus, pressed flowers, plane tickets, and hotel swizzle sticks adorn them. But the most noteworthy comments are my expectations, written as I wait at the airport to board. Perceptive thoughts go downhill from there and dwindle into nothing before the return flight. So I have little to check my memories against, other than hearing my children tell the stories from their perspective. And then I barely recognize the event. But I like most of the memories that I recall. The ones I don't like still have something to teach me. If I had learned the lesson, they would have been banished to the forgettable department. Unresolved memories can also act as a conscience. Who you wronged can nag away as you wander through the past. Who do you owe an apology for a long ago misstep, a confession, or the repayment of a loan that still is unpaid? Confession is good for the soul and lets you check that memory into the let's just forget category. Learning from the memories lived is vital. As the philosopher George Santayana noted, those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it. From our past, we learn what triggers us to do the things we wish we hadn't done, and we learn what inspires us to be the best that we can be. It's a foolish soul who does not take advantage of that built-in knowledge to avoid what we will regret doing over and over again. The past also enables and motivates each of us to be the best that we can be, if we only learn the lessons it has to teach us. You don't have to wait for Lent to examine your conscience for past misdeeds. Instead, enjoy the delightful memories and deal with the sad and bad right now, for there's no time like the present for dealing with the past. So may it be. Amen. This is a two-part look at time. Next week, we'll leave behind the past and move on to look ahead into the future. Your challenge for this week: get on the internet and find someone you haven't seen for ages and let them know you're thinking of them and wanted to just say hello, or maybe tell them what an impact they made on your life, and find out where life took them.